We've made it to the portion of this professional development where we're covering the projects during week 6. And week 6, let's take a quick look at it here. We have our 15-minute check-in meeting to start off the week, just like every other week. And this is actually going to continue really with what we were doing in week 5, which is game design and game development. So we've got 4 projects here that we're going to take a look at 2 different tools. One tool is called Twine, and the other cool tool is called Scratch. And we're going to take a close look at both of those in this video. So let's begin by going into Mouse Create, into our group. I have the week 5 projects here, and I just want to add the week 6 projects. So the week 6 projects in the projects menu, they're all actually in Impact Game Design. So let me go to Impact Game Design here on the left-hand side of the projects menu. But the first one I want to add is all the way at the bottom here under related projects. It's called Write the Future. So I'm going to add Write the Future to this playlist. And then I want to add these projects as well here. What is Scratch? Games from Scratch, and it's the remix. So we just added 4 projects, Write the Future, and these 3 here. So let's go back to the group page to make sure that worked. We've got last week's projects. We've got these 4 new ones. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I want to show you a little bit about how these 2 tools work. Write the Future uses a tool called Twine, and these 3 all use Scratch, which you may or may not be familiar with. So Write the Future is a project that walks you through creating an interactive fiction game. So we have an example of a type of game. So there's some text here, and I only have one option in this one to go from page 1 to page 2. And so now it's starting to give me a choose your own adventure interactive novel. So now I have options to go to page 3A or page 3B, I guess we could say. And now same thing. So I'm choosing my destiny in this project. And so that's the type of game students are going to make in this project. So a few different examples in there, and I just want to go to this step here, starting with Twine, to show you how Twine works. So what we are going to do is we are going to find the URL for Twine, which is here on step 8. Go to Twine. And so Twine, when you first get here, again, this is just the platform that students will make those choose your own adventure interactive games. Originally, a lot of people see this and think that you have to download something, but you do not have to download anything. This little blue text here that says use it online, that's what we're interested in. I'm just going to skip through the introduction about Twine. And in the Mouse Create project, Write the Future, especially in step 9 here, there's some really specific steps of how you create your story. I'm just going to show you really quickly a short introduction, even though it is also available in step 9 there. So I'm on Twine using the online version. I click that green button over here on the right, says Story. I'm going to make an example project for us here right now. And so we have these little passages that link to each other. So let me show you what that means. I have the beginning of this project. I'm going to click the little pencil thing there to get this started, and I'm going to call the first passage Start. And what we can do is actually it's going to allow us to go from different passages as we create this game. So I'm going to say go to, and I'm going to call this next. And what I need to do is 2 square brackets or 2 square brackets, let's say other. Make this simple. Obviously, this is a quick example, and you should be doing a little bit more detail than that. But you can see how this starts to get built out, this interactive story here. So the person would start at this one and then go to, depending on what they choose, they would either go to here or to here, and so on and so forth. So Twine, very fun activity and tool that'll allow for a lot of creativity with your students. And same thing as always, there's an opportunity to upload their work, so they can upload a URL of their Twine game or an image of what they've created inside this project. So that's the Write the Future project and how you're going to get started with week 6. These next 3 projects go into Scratch. So if you're not familiar, Scratch is a well-known coding platform where it's designed for students. So for kids, usually as young as elementary school, can get started on Scratch. And what we do in this project is you see a little bit of an example of what Scratch is. We have an opportunity to understand what we need to do in terms of making a Scratch account, and I can almost guarantee you a lot of your students may already come in with a Scratch account that they are using. A lot of students, a lot of teachers around the city are using Scratch very regularly, and then it shows students examples of some games that have been made in Scratch. Again, you can see the preview right on Mouse Create once it loads. And it's just an opportunity for students to go inside the code of these games and just explore with the code and edit the code and do what they need to do. So, important for you. An important thing for you to do will be to go through the What is Scratch project to interact with Scratch a bit. But then I do want to highlight the next 2 projects, Games from Scratch and It's the Remix. In these projects, students are being told exactly what they need to do in order to add certain blocks of code into their programs. And we have some great GIFs here. So this is the Scratch platform that the student will click on the many links to Scratch we have inside these projects to enter into Scratch. They'll see the Scratch coding menu here, and they'll click and drag blocks in to start navigating and moving their Scratch cat and any other sprites they create into programs that they've designed, so games they can create. So if you are not familiar with Scratch, you definitely want to make sure that you spend a good amount of time preparing for this week. It is a tool that has a lot of things that it can do and can be sometimes confusing for anyone who might be new with it. So again, 4 projects, Write the Future, What is Scratch, Games from Scratch, and It's the Remix. You're going to want to spend some time going through each one of these projects, become comfortable with these 2 tools, and think about how you want to introduce them to your students. So again, you always have your program schedule, your facilitator guide, and the slide deck that we're in currently, which will tell you whether or not it will be required to do some of these things synchronously or asynchronously.